Because, Spiegel, that's how I deliver a warning. I'm sounding the alarm, alerting the masses. You'd better listen up while you still can.
So we have this evil bad guy who left a teddy bear hanging out at the top of a skyscraper. That doesn't seem so bad. Except for the guy's evil laughter. Thankfully, Spike is there to return the guy's bear to him. Well, isn't that nice? But the evil laugh guy is Spike's latest bounty to hunt, the Teddy Bomber. Well, I guess everyone needs a gimmick. Not everyone can be the Sticky Bandits after all. But the Teddy Bomber has heard of Spike, mentioning that anyone with a price on their head is afraid of him. Or Andy. Either one, I guess. Don't worry, we'll meet him soon. So the bomber makes a last-ditch effort to detonate his bomb, not realizing that Spike is actually competent enough to disarm the bomb before beating the crap out of him. And here's where the episode goes from cool to stupid within seconds, as we're introduced to Cowboy Andy, who is a bounty hunter who thinks he's a literal cowboy, right down to the Wild West duds and horse. Of course, his shtick is that he's a complete moron. He believes Spike is the Teddy Bomber, despite the fact he jumped over the guy with the crap ton of detonators on his arm. So obviously he escapes, detonates the other bombs, and makes Spike look like a complete jackass, thus ending the extra long teaser. So we open the episode proper with Spike back on Bebop, while Faye and Jet basically do this review for me and make fun of how incredibly stupid it is that a nutball bounty hunter on a horse prevented Spike from nabbing the bomber. I will give the scene this much. It really does an excellent job of indirectly breaking the fourth wall. Thankfully, Ed is able to look the guy up and back up Spike's story, that he's a guy who is a complete annoying pain in the ass who breaks everyone else's stuff. Well, good to know. But since now there's competition for the bounty on the Teddy Bomber, the whole crew decides to stake out his next target. A masquerade party? Jet's worried about the fact that there's a whole lot of people here who might get caught up in this, but Spike mentions that while the guy is a crazed bomber, he isn't the type to hurt or kill innocent people on purpose. Too bad that real-life bombers don't agree with this guy. Anyway, Jet and Spike have no problem tracking down the bomber in his awesomely brilliant disguise. I mean, look at that thing. Yeah, I'm the Teddy Bomber. Let me dress up like a teddy bear. Durr. Oh, God, that whistling can only mean one of two things. Either Proto Man is somehow part of the Bebop universe, or Cowboy Andy is back. And sure enough, it's Cowboy Andy, who this time pulls a gun on Jet thinking he's the bomber. And for the cherry on the turd sundae, he pulls a gun on Spike thinking he too could be the bomber. Again. They're really crossing the line between confused and flat-out moron. So the bomber sets off some bombs and runs off in the confusion. Andy and Spike give chase while Faye decides that now is the best time to flirt with the moron who let the Teddy Bomber get away. Again. This descends into a three-way chase. The bomber in a car, Andy and Faye on a horse, and Spike in his zip craft. Spike shoots at the bomber, which causes Andy to shoot at Spike, and causes the bomber to crash, in which Andy rides right past him. Again. No wonder this guy isn't afraid to keep blowing stuff up. All the bounty hunters around him are stupid, and apparently the police don't exist. So after millions in property damage across the city, Andy takes Faye back to his yacht for some soup. Because nothing warms a lady's heart quite like soup? Seriously, what the hell are you trying to do? Give her heartburn? Anyway, the long and short of Andy's backstory is that he believes he's best suited to being a cowboy, and since the modern cowboys are bounty hunters, sure, why the hell not? Sadly, what makes Andy's character so unlikable is the fact he's so unbelievable. Sure, the formula for rich man turning vigilante is out there, and a highly workable formula, but there's a difference between characters like Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark, and people who are complete and utter morons on a horse. Anyway, Faye comes back bearing gifts, namely food from Andy, and starts a conversation about how Andy and Spike are so much alike. How? Because they're both stubborn? So apparently I have a lot in common with Spike then. Anyway, get used to this plot point. It's going to be there the whole episode, no matter how much it doesn't make sense. So like a bad Batman villain, the Teddy Bomber sends in a letter to Big Shots for the bounty hunters stating that he'll strike again, and this will probably be the last chance to catch him. At least this episode revels in its own stupidity. But on the other end of the competence spectrum, Ed's already figured out the next target is City Hall since it's the third tallest building in town. Wow, what a freaking pattern. I'm not even going to try and justify any of this. So Jet and Faye want no part of this bounty. Again. So it's up to Spike. So the bomber decides to stand outside City Hall in plain daylight so both Spike and Cowboy Andy can find him. And this is so that the bomber can explain why he's blowing stuff up. But no time for that. These guys have to sit and argue for about 4 minutes. And after that, they decide that maybe they should team up and take down the bomber, who, like a Bond villain, has set up a death trap of teddy bear bombs at the top of an elevator shaft that now contains Spike and Andy. Yes, and of course he's not going to see them die. Oh, and look, there's Faye. I guess she wanted to catch him after all. Wow, Faye lying to Spike and Jet. What a shock. And of course, Spike and Andy escape the blast and decide there's no shame in getting into a fight to see who's the superior cowboy or something. I don't even know why any of us care still. Anyway, Spike wins in a totally non-Spike way, and Andy rides off into the sunset toward an elevator. Post-episode follow-up? If there's anything to describe this episode, it's silly fluff. Basically, it's a stupid villain who's part Unabomber, part Bond villain, part Batman villain, who's only craving attention from two guys who shouldn't even give him the time of day, and goes up against our regular crew and a bored rich moron who rides around on a horse. In the simplest of terms, this episode goes against everything this series has been about since the start. The gritty atmosphere, the engaging three-dimensional characters, and the amazingly engaging story. None of these are found in this episode. And it only serves to make our normal crew look like a complete bunch of morons. Final score for Cowboy Funk is 2 out of 10. The only thing funkier than this is Con Funk.
She